Alright, so one of my best friends Euan wanted me to make this video, and the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. So hey guys, my name is Ryan Thomas with Failtech, and this is my comparison of the Galaxy S4 from Samsung and the G2 from LG. Now, my G2 has had some real issues when it comes to boot loops, and I've made a full video on LG boot loops, so do check that out if you're interested. As for the S4, the Wi-Fi stopped working after 3 months, which is kind of silly, and now I would say that the devices are both rather buggy. Of course, you can combat this and fix it with your own custom software, but as much as I've tried, I cannot fix either of these phones, so I would not call them incredibly reliable, as long as you get the right one. Both of these devices came out in 2013, and so you're looking at 4-year-old phones at this point, and you should be able to get them for £100 or under. If you cannot, then something is wrong. The designs both feature a plethora of plastic, which comes from two different approaches. The S4 seems a little bit more tacky to me, with a chromy plastic rail around the outside. As far as the front, the bezels are larger than the G2, but they aren't as bad as some 4-year-old devices. Like, really, they're not that bad. Hardware buttons are cool too, but I'm more of a software button guy. As for the software buttons, the G2 has them. Its bezels are smaller, the lock button and volume up and down buttons are on the back, which I really love, and I've always loved the rear place buttons due to the fact that they're more ergonomic, and I missed them when I switched to the S4. I much prefer the ergonomics, design and build quality of the G2, but the S4 has an easily replaceable battery, so there's that, and there are definitely trade-offs for sure, and with old phones like this, the replaceable battery is a big loss for the G2. The screens on these devices are excellent, both rocking near 5-inch 1080p panels, and the S4's slightly larger panel is being AMOLED, and the G2's is being IPS. I love both technologies. The deep blacks, contrast and high saturation make the S4's display more exciting to use, but the G2's minimal bezels and more accurate colour give it just an incredible viewing experience. As I said before, they're both 1080p, which makes for a sharp and clean looking image whether you're watching videos, reading fine text, taking photos or playing games. If you really want a quality display though, you can't go wrong with any of these. The cameras aren't so bad, with the pair both sporting 13 megapixel sensors with similar focal length lenses. They both shoot 1080p video. The G2 takes that to 60 fps, which is quite unique, and the S4 is a standard 30 fps. Neither shoot high frame rate video, which is just as well because you're not going to get good low light with these, and upping the frame rate would just basically amplify the issues. Either way, they're good cameras in the right hands, but I would go with an S5 or a G3 for a much better camera experience and the ability to shoot in 4K. The selfie camera on the S4 is better IMO than the G2's cam due to the wide angle lens. Neither will give you sharp selfies by any means at 2 megapixels, but they're better than the previous generation phones. The system on chips are very different in these phones. Despite both being made by Qualcomm, we have a Snapdragon 600 in the S4 and a Snapdragon 800 in the G2, with both rocking 2GB of RAM and a plethora of storage configs, which comes as a bit of a surprise to me because you really can't tell the difference in custom software. I believe that the stock software on both of these does make the phones feel quite old. They both run 5.0 Lollipop, and if you install custom software, you can get these to like Nougat, which is super awesome. Both will run newish games, but anything other than an indie title here or there might prove to be difficult for these old boys. The software experience IMO is much better on the G2 if we're looking at stock, so there's that, as long as you don't get those dreaded boot loops, of course. The batteries are similar-ish in size, with the G2 rocking a 3000 mAh battery and the S4 a 2600 mAh battery. Though the S4's battery is smaller, but it's replaceable and upgradable, which is again important for these older phones. The speaker on the G2 is just a little bit better than the S4 in a better location compared to the S4, but neither are amazing. Both are rocking micro B 2.0 and headphone ports, which means you're getting good enough IMO. No fingerprint scanners here unfortunately, but in conclusion, I find that the software jeopardizes the S4's real chance at taking the win here, and G2's boot looping issues are few and far between, so I'd say the G2 wins here, with its faster processor, much better design IMO, those really thin bezels, and a great camera too. So that's it from me guys. Please do check out my Patreon in the description. Please do like or dislike this video on your thoughts, and comment your thoughts in the video comments. Please do subscribe if you're new around here to never miss a video like this one, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.